Area where Kenyans are investing in residential plots due to infrastructural growth, less congestion, great ambience and scenic views of Kilimambogo Hills. Invest in an 8-acre plot at Gardenia Estate, Kangundo Road at 750,000 Kenya shillings only. Book a plot with 80,000 Kenya shillings and enjoy a flexible payment plan. Title deeds are ready. Site visits every Wednesday and Saturday.
Good afternoon. We are coming live from Username Investment Limited offices. These are our headquarters. Behind me, you can see members of staff. You can work with us, but you can, more importantly, listen to our discussion today. Who is investing more? Is it men? Is it women? Work with me in this live discussion. I would welcome you to this conversation. I want to hope you are doing fine. We have interesting conversation and statistics that we have gathered today for you. We'd like at the end of this conversation, you get to learn on how to invest based on experience that we have gathered over the years from the people who invest with us. We have thousands of customers, men and women. We have learned many things. We do site visit, we do questionnaires. We talk with them. They share deep stuff with us. So work with me, and please, by the end of this video, we hope you'll have take homes. My name is Reuben Kimani. I'm the CEO Username Investment Limited. Welcome to this live session. Remember, we are live in Facebook, we are live in Instagram, we are live in YouTube. Please follow us there, comment and engage us. So the big question today, who is investing more? As we continue this discussion, I would like, or this conversation, I would request you, I would ask you to come in and contribute. Tell us, who is investing more according to you? Is it men, is it women? And tell us why you think it is men or women. Let's go. According to statistics, in the year 2019, we had more girls than boys who did KCSE. Very interesting. I think the figure was like 55 to 45%. And there are many questions around that. I started a debate in the country, and the debate is still continuing. The number of women candidates in our universities today, they have increased over time. Used to be less than 10% in the 80s and 90s. But now we are talking about 40%. This figure will keep increasing. We have a visible evolution for girl child in Kenya. I know there is a discussion about boy child and stuff like that. All manner of discussion, all manner of arguments, all manner of comments that come through. And I believe this is something that is also in your mind. Why is girl child progressing? Why is boy child not progressing? I'll give you statistics as we go along. At the end of this live cast, I'll be able to tell you who wins according to the statistics that we have. Is it men? Is it women? Higher. Number two, if I look at over the last 5 years in our business, according to investment, of course you have statistics. We know our customer very well. I talked about questionnaires, talked about talking to them, and we also have our databases. We produce titles. We have done more than 8,000 title deeds so far with more than 10,000 customers. Out of those, there's a big percentage of ladies and women. So it used to be 30% over the last 5 years. The numbers and the percentage has been increasing over time. And I will not tell you what it is now. Keep tuned in until the end of this live cast. The fourth statistics. We have, and this is from Username Investment Limited, we have like 10,000 customers, But we have different categories of the products that we offer. What we have learned, which is very interesting, is that for different category of products that we offer, based on location, more so based on pricing, we have different percentages for ladies and gentlemen, depending on the pricing. For very affordable properties, we have more women, very interesting. This is properties, remember username does properties in the ranges of 100 to 800,000. And we have done 45 projects so far, well done. But if you look at those projects, like 80% of them are, 70 to 8% are between 100,000 to about 600,000 or thereabout. So based on our data, and this is confidential, but I'm going to share with you, the number of ladies or women who have invested in products that ranges between 100,000 to 500,000 shillings is a whopping 55%. So 45% is men, 55% is ladies. This is username investment. If you go to the next categories, products between 500,000 and 1,000,000 shillings. This is also very interesting. 60% is ladies, 40% is men. Now, let's go to the other category of more than 1,000,000 shillings. Remember, username is known for affordable properties throughout our 7-year history. The properties that are more than 1,000,000 shillings, this is where men are going to win. This is 54% for men and 46% for ladies. So this statistics is very telling about our investment patterns, about all these discussions we have been having about men and women. And we are talking about investment today. There are many other aspects of life, about relationships, about religion and stuff like that. I'm not going to handle that. That one will be handled by other forum. Today we are talking about investment. So very interesting. For very affordable property, it looks like we have more women. But we also have another statistic of people who invest jointly. These are couples. We have not put that statistic in the picture. There are those couples who have men being registered in their title deeds. But there are also those couples who have their wives being registered in their title deeds, but you also have joint. So we understand that statistics as well. Sometimes you are not able to tell, but you have that group in our population. So we are not ignorant to the fact that some of these title deeds registered are registered on behalf of either of the genders. It might be male or female. That is according to research. I'm going to share more of these details as we go forward. But remember, please comment down there and tell us whether you think it's men who invest more or whether it is women, and tell us why. We are doing this because you may inspire someone to invest today based on the tips that you are going to give. Maybe it's patience, maybe it's research and such stuff. After I have given you these stories and statistics, I'm also going to tell you why the situation is the way I have enumerated. The statistics I've given. So let's go ahead. Why do we have more ladies than men investing, especially in affordable properties? Remember I said it depends on the kind of properties. If you go and do the same research where homes are concerned, maybe going for 10 million, the results will be different, because I don't want people to fight me saying I'm username or Reuben is saying this and that about, especially a gentleman. I'm a boy child. This a topic that is interesting to me. It's something that I really try to hammer, especially to young men, people like me. Tips you can be able to use to survive the environment you have in our country, in Africa, and in the world. Tips to be able to get ahead in life, especially for the boy child. So this is not a discussion about boy child and girl child. It's just enumerating statistics and giving you reasons why a certain gender is rising faster than the other, and topics and lessons that we can learn. This is from experience. So the question is, why do we have more ladies in certain categories of products than men? And I'm going to share some statistics. We have a study by Fidelity Investments. that was performed about investment for both genders. And this, according to this study, women invested more than men by 0.4%. That is a very small margin. But the fact is, if you look at where we have come from as a country, we have come from a situation where, if you look at our mothers, those who are 60 and above, our mothers are 60 and above, especially them that grew up in villages and also in town setups. Our mothers, there is a way they used to operate. Most of them might have been housewives. The father used to look for money, jobs, income they bring to the family, they feed the family, they do investment on behalf of the family. The mothers used to keep these documents safely. In most setups, the mothers also used to look for food for the family, but of course they were working with the father. The father used to provide income for the household. The mothers used to look for food. They keep documents safe. I bet if you go to any family today, if your mother or your father if your mother is above 60 years, they are the people who keep most of these documents safely. But they are not the one who produce the money to invest. They used to do a lot of work. And we appreciate our mothers today. We had Mother's Day the other day. We also appreciate our fathers today for the work that they have been able to do. The other fact is 2010 Constitution also enabled equal rights for both men and women where property ownership is concerned. This is a positive thing. And you have seen more women take up property investment over time. There is also research according to Fidelity Investment, something I've shared, Global Poverty Agenda and World Bank. There have been studies all over trying to cover this topic, trying to give some light. But for me today, I want to understand why, so that we can take those lessons and apply them in our lives and be able to move forward. Number one, where do we find a big statistic of women? And this is growing, and it will keep growing. I suspect at some point it might go even to 60-40, which is challenging for us as men and boy child. Number one, women spend more time researching. I'll give you I have 6 of the tips or reasons why you find a big population of ladies and women working very hard and being the key drivers of our economy, investing in properties slightly more than men of the same age. So number one, we know about ladies, we know about women, we appreciate them today, wherever they are. We have a lot in our offices. They are behind me. You'll see some of them walking. We want to appreciate them. Women are known to be nurturers. If you look at our children, and I'll pose a question today. Have you ever heard of a deadbeat mom or mother? It is unheard of. Of course, you have a few here and there. You must have a madman in the market. Have you ever heard of a deadbeat mother? It is very unheard of. So our women, our mothers, ladies are nurturers. And for that reason, you'll find some of those characteristics being put in investment. And it has worked so well to a point where the statistics keep growing every day. So women have been known to do research before they come to invest. We have done site visit, and I have done several. At the inception of the organization, we receive feedback. And I keep sometimes going to these sites, and I meet customers. I meet ladies and I meet men, and we have conversation, deep conversation about investment. And I can tell you for a fact, you'll find most of the ladies who come to invest with us, they have done some bit of due diligence. Of course, these days you can Google, you can find about our offices. They ask questions. Basically, they have done more research, more than men. And we are not generalizing today as much. We are talking about a bigger statistic, a bigger percentage of the population. We know there are men who are nurturers, there are men who are investors, there are men who really work hard, but we are talking about a statistic today. So they are known to take more time to do research before they make an investment decision. This is what happens. If you do an open day, which has been flashy, you know about username and open days. We have comedians, we have food, we have free transport, we don't charge for anything. We should have a group of men and women, and we talk to them. This is what happens. When we go for sales site visits, where we expose our customer to property tours, to see the products, see the beacons, to see the fence, to see the very strategic pieces of land that we employ, that we expose to our customers. Most of the ladies will commit faster. But of course, they'll ask you so many questions about the company, about the products, whether we are genuine or not, the trust that they have with us, whether we have all those questions. But at the end of the day, you'll find that ladies will commit faster. Why? These people have done research, they have taken time, they have searched. Not to say that men don't, but a bigger percentage of women will come prepared to invest. And that's why you find most of our products move extremely fast. You go to the ground, you explain, they have done their research, and you'll find a bigger percentage of women. So most of them do research. Number two, investments, especially about properties, about long term. You need to have a long-term picture in your mind for you to make money in properties, in real estate. Real estate, you don't buy a plot today and sell it after 1 year. Too short. You don't sell it after 2 years, that is too short. You do it after 5 years and above so that you can get capital gain. Most millionaires today in real estate, even in the world, they are made through capital gain. You buy a property at $500,000. We have so many in Gong and Matu that you can check with us. Then after 5 to 10 years, this property is worth 5 million shillings. Imagine you had so many of those properties. You move from your initial investment of like 1 million shillings, you have properties all over, to like 10 million shillings in 10 years. That's how people get rich. So we have found, based on our research, that more women hold the long-term view where investment is concerned. Women are more likely to be patient with investment compared to men. We talked about them being nurturers, people who do research. They are more likely to be more resilient, to wait for longer than men. Men are known to be traders. And I'll give you an example. This is project we are doing Gong in 2016. The project was called, we have very interesting and beautiful name for our projects. These are estates, the way you have Buruburu, you have Gong View. It was going for 149,000. I remember we had groups of men and women who came to invest with us. We had a group of women who invested, and they really negotiated with us. We were selling at 149, they bought at 144,000. Of course, after back and forth, you can come and negotiate if you are buying so much of properties with us, we will listen to you. They bought at 149,000. I thank God they made that decision. We had a back and forth, we had meetings, we sat down, they made a decision. Goes back to my first point about doing some form of research. We had another group of men, unfortunately. After coming to the site visit, and I remember because I was in charge, they came, they checked the area, they came back with our buses, and they were asking questions, only to find out after a few days, the guys were back to site. I think there were three or four or thereabout. They had gone back to site to check whether they can get the same pieces we are offering at a much lower price. Maybe they get an acre, 2 acres or 5 acres. Land at that point was available, but there is one tricky point about business. Don't find someone doing business and you think it is so easy. If you find someone carrying something and it looks so light, don't assume it is light. It might be so heavy, but this guy has learned how to hold that thing in a way that looks so light for you. So there are those who will come to businesses they don't understand, and that's why we talk about investing with known organizations. So these guys came, they went back like the third day. I was there and I found them going around. They were looking for pieces of land. They thought they would make some savings from what you are selling. After some time, I came to learn that they never bought anything, because what happens with these parcels of land that you find there are so many brokers and mikoras, people you can be able to trust. You go buy a property, it doesn't have a title deed, have one that might be fake. People will take you in circles. They might tell you you have a property just a kilometer away from here, or even 100 meters away next to our projects, but these might be conmen. It is very possible. And if they are genuine, they might not be telling you the exact distance. So these guys wasted so much time trying to compete with username investment to look for much cheaper property. They only came back after 1 year. That's how we came to know about this story. They bought the same plots at about 350,000 after realizing their mistake, and I thank God they realized the mistake, rectified in good time. They bought the same property at 350. The ladies group bought at 145,000 after negotiating. That is the difference. And I've seen this in our site visits. It is not an isolated case. We have groups of young men, people like me, and even groups of men. We are talking about people between 20 to 40 years who come and they think they might be smarter than the company that is offering. It is okay to do research. You might know more than we do. If you do, take your time, do due diligence, know the market. But it is safer to invest with a company that has a lot of experience in this market. That clearly highlights the difference between men and women to some extent. Not to say all men are like that. We have very good groups of young men who have invested with us, very young as 22 years, and they are doing well. But if you look at statistics, a bigger percentage of women are able to make decisions faster. Number 3, we're in the 21st century, and we have something called goals. If you compare the goals of women and men, they are completely different. And I'll give examples. There's a research that was done by Consumer Insight, and this survey says that 37% of women placed home ownership as number 1. These are women between the age of 26 and 37 years. Say 25 and 40 years, that's the statistic. These are young people building the economy. We are working very hard. Congratulations, whatever you are doing in this country. We thank you for your input. 37% ages between 26 to 37 years. They placed home ownership first. Then number 2, and this is something you can speculate, dream wedding was number 2. Number 3 was holiday, and number 4 was successful marriage, in that order. Number 1 is home ownership, number 2 is dream wedding, number 3 is holiday, and number 4 is a successful marriage. That is for women. Let's go to men. For men, number 1 was stable jobs and stable businesses. That was number 1 for men. Number 2 was generating, this is side hustles, generating passive income. Basically, you'll find a lot of men. We like deals, we like trading, we like looking at things. If you find someone doing one thing, you think maybe you can do better. You can look for other ways. The problem we have, we don't have that long-term mindset in nature. So it happens that if something fails, we give up faster, but we look for ways to survive, to prosper, to thrive. So number 1 was for men was stable job. Number 2 is this passive income. So number 3, that's where you get things to do with things like holidays, cars. Maybe number 4, I'm not very sure. This is the statistic, successful marriage, and it goes on like that. Number 5, number 6, number 10, you can be able to speculate for yourself. So that shows a difference of goals. And that tells you, if a lady gets a job today and a man gets a job today, they'll think differently. For most women, they'll first go for home ownership. The first stage of home ownership, acquiring a plot of land, and that's what username provides for you. We have so many varieties. Just come to us, we'll listen to you, we'll give you 12 months worth of payment period. So the goals matter. You can see the goals for women and men are completely different. That's one of the reasons, and this is something we can learn. Even as men, we can put home ownership first, because we are supposed to lead our families. We are supposed to protect and provide to our families. And one of the most important provision is a home for family. I believe this is something that we can put on top in our list, so that we become people who conquer this market. This market in the next 5 years might be different. It might have been conquered by a different gender. Not to say that is a bad thing. They're also providing for our children, for the economy, and for the families. But as men, we also need to up our game. Number 4, savings. If you go back to the villages and the cities, for many years, we have something called table banking. It is more associated with women than men. In the last 5 to 10 years, we had a chama revolution in our country. Everyone was in a chama, 1 or 2 or 3 chamas. We still have the same revolution, but the chamas that have been left are the serious chamas who are investing, they are meeting, they are deliberating, they are making decisions. I'm afraid some chamas have dropped off, they have died. If your chamas have died, you can revive it. You may have money in the bank, come to username investment, help you be able to use that money constructively. So over time, and if you look at 80% of urban women, for example, they are usually in small businesses. So what happens, they usually come together. Say they have a salon, these are small business, akina Mama Boga, we have shops, we have so many in Moi Avenue, Tomboya Street, and many other cities. We go to Nakuru selling clothes. We have so many ladies in the market. 80% of the urban women are in small businesses, so they come together. They meet every week, they meet every month. There are those who do twice a week, then they do contributions, serious contributions. And I said women do a more research than men. So they'll bring that money to username. Let me go back in history. If you go back to the village or even in cities, those women group were able to accomplish so much, especially where households are concerned. You know those plastic seats? Most families have that at home. Most of them are bought by your mothers, that merry-go-round. We have women who used to buy mattresses, our mothers, mattresses and blankets. Oh, going back to the utensils. You have those utensils for visitors and such kind of stuff, those that are stocked in the cupboard. Some of them are still there. They were bought during through these merry-go-rounds. So over time, that has been able to advance, that has been able to progress to a point where now the same groups of women, now younger women, most of them are in chamas, they are putting money into real estate and it is working wonders. We have so many groups of chamas in this company, both men and women, but the number of chamas for men are more than women by a big margin. I don't have the actual statistic today, but I will tell you it is 70-30. So many women, and they are very ambitious. They keep coming for these properties over time. So these are savings, these are chamas. That is another reason why women are moving further. Something to learn from this. Even as men, we can come together. We have our own hustles. We have our own jobs. Come together. Of course, we watch football. We have road trips. We have boys club and stuff like that. One of the agendas can be investment. And time is of essence, especially in real estate. You come together. Don't take so long to make decisions. Don't have money stuffed into banks and it's just coming at, is it 7%? Property will give you 25%. So there's something to run, especially from our ladies, from our women, from our mothers. Come together. When we come together, big things happen. That is one of the slogans out there in the market. If you come together, you may not be able to buy a property worth $1 million shillings, but if you are 10, you can be able to contribute 100,000 and you buy a property. Do you know you can also get a loan based on your contribution per month? Some of these banks are specializing with chamas. It's a big movement and you can be able to get a way out. Let's go to number 5. There's also easy access to credit. I've mentioned about that. When you come together, pull money aside. You are doing it every week, twice a week for informal businesses. There are those who do it once per month. I mean, 2 chamas. We contribute once per month a certain amount of money. If you look at the total amount of money over time, this amount can be considered by banks. They usually consider your history, withdrawal because you have been buying properties, and of course deposits. If you look at the way they have been depositing this money over time, some banks will be able to advance money to these chamas. So if you have a saving of $500,000, it's possible to buy a property worth more than $1 million and above. Because you are many, you'll keep contributing over a long period of time. The best thing about chamas, and I'll tell you this for a fact, it will help you with savings. Number 2, chamas will help you to pull money aside without feeling a lot of pain. When we come together, great things happen. So when you come together, you'll not feel pain when you are saving, especially in a chama setup. And remember, the chama is still buying properties for you. Who knows? The investment you are doing with chama is what will save you in the next 10 to 20 years if everything else does not work. So this is a big thing to learn. We can be able to get credit, access to credit from most credit facilities. So that's number 5. Number 6, I talked about long-term view of investment. This is something that is very strong with women more than men. Most of the instances, and that's why our statistic is very correct. For properties between 100 and half a million shillings, we have 55% of women investors, 45% of men. If you go to properties more than a million shillings, 54 or 55% is men, 45%. What does that say? Women are more likely to consider something that has an above average risk. They are more likely to consider something that might take long to mature, but it will mature. Of course, I say there are so many questions. They sit you down. They'll ask you about the company, about the potential of the property, about title deeds, and many other questions. But eventually, they'll make a decision to invest. And that's why you'll find for properties, we have a very good property in Konza. Konza is being built, 299,000 shillings. Please come for it. We even give you a 12 months installment payment, 299,000. Imagine if you are a group, how much you can do. You can do 2 to 3 plots. We'll give you discounts for that. Come and talk to us. So I'm talking about those properties in Konza. The best thing about those properties, Konza is supposed to be a city like Nairobi. You can imagine you have Upper Hill, you have Westlands where our offices are located. We have Runda, we have Karen. There are places in Konza that will be Runda. There are places that will be Karen. There are places that will be Pipeline. There are places that will be all these estates that we have in Nairobi. So you can imagine the distance. So that is what you should look at 10 years to come. Konza is a long-term investment, and we keep telling our customers, 5 to 10 years, great things will happen. Long-term investment gives you more gain than short-term investment. That's why you'll find most of the properties that are very affordable, high potential in the long term, you'll find more ladies investing in them. So they have a long-term view in investing in properties more than men. That's why you'll find men will go for something that looks already developed and it is going for a lot of money, and they'll buy that. But ladies on the other side, they might look for the longer term view. And like I said, there are men who reason like ladies in this view. They look at the long term. These are investors. They also invest more in affordable, more than expensive property, a certain portion. Today we are looking at what portion of ladies is doing investment in this kind of category of properties. What kind of percentage of men are investing in this category of properties? And that's what we are talking about today. And we are focusing more on the girl child more than the boy child today. The last thing about ladies, they perceive investment as a security for the future. We began this discussion by talking about women being nurturers. You'll find that we have a lot of bias in our society about inheritance. For a long time, men has been inheriting property. 2010 Constitution has enabled equal property rights, which is a progress in our society. So you'll find there have been a lot of bias. You'll find for some families, especially the old, you find they'll give land to their brothers, to their sons, not their daughters. This is changing every day. Over time, because of that kind of bias in our society, you'll find women have learned, especially those who are in our urban areas, they're educated and such stuff. They are looking for a way to seal that gap. You realize you might not inherit a property from your parents. So what do you do once you get education? You look for properties for your own. So there's that rush in Nairobi, that rush in Kenya to own properties, especially from ladies. You want to have a security for your future. In case your parents were to pass on and you did not inherit something, maybe you are not even married, how do you survive? So most of them have seen this bigger picture, this picture of the future, and they have taken that to invest for the future. And that's where you'll find most of them take investment very seriously. They'll put ownership high up there, more than men of similar age group or similar property categories that we are exposing to you today. Having a place they can call home, having a place they can park their own cars, a place where they can sleep without fear, a place where they don't have to pay rent. These are some of the aspirations of so many women in our society today. Not all of them, so many of them in our category. Men, on the other hand, perceive investment as a form of prestige. And I'll give an example. If you look at vehicles, and I bet most of them, most people will bear witness in this. Look at a man and a wife if they are buying a vehicle. Number one, what will a man look at? Most of us, I included, most of the time we might look on how big the vehicle is, what brand it is, some other characteristics, especially if you like vehicles. You talk about power, all those, the RPM and many other things. We look at those, they are called aesthetic factors. But if you go back to a lady, what will they look at? Apart from a few, we of course know that this is a general statistics. We of course know there are a few who deviate from that statistic. They look at functionality. Is the car spacious? Can it carry my kids? Can they fit behind the seats behind? How much space is the boot to be able to carry stuff? They also check how easy is it to maintain this car. Is it going to eat my money and I want to have home ownership or buy plots and stuff like that? Those are different way of looking. Not to say men are wrong. No, you complement each other. At the end of the day, we agree and meet somewhere. You also don't want to buy a very old car because you are saving. It will come and break down. We have our own interests. That is how priorities are different for men and women. We complement each other. But in this discussion today, some of these priorities will tell you there's something to learn on how our ladies are able to carry on with their lives. And they can help you to be able to invest today. Maybe your priorities might be how big the car is. It's a good thing, but you can also be able to, for me, life is a balance. You can be able to balance. I'm not saying you have a very small car. No. I'm talking about a balance where you check what is your priorities. So those are some of the 6 things, and I will take you very sharp but before I do that, of course, we have so many ladies that are doing well today. In our current society, they are doing a lot of work. They are advancing in investment. They are advancing in politics, in the area of education, in the area of government, and many other areas. We congratulate them. Recently, we have President Samia Suluhu in Tanzania. I know you know this. Congratulations to her. We have Justice Martha Koome, who was made Chief Justice yesterday. This is not a joke. Maybe in future, we'll have a president in the country, and we look forward. If you look at what Obama said, one of his quotes about women, he said, where women are full participants in a country's politics and economy, societies are more likely to succeed. Where women are full participants in a country's investment, especially where homes are concerned, where plots are concerned, the society is more likely to succeed. Who are they investing for? While we have deadbeat fathers, dads, we never have deadbeat mothers. I say that at the beginning. But of course, we have a few, maybe 1 or 2. Because these properties are for the future. They are for the children. And that's why you'll find the future generation has a bigger chance to succeed, more than if this was a statistic from the men's side. That is all about women. But we also understand God created all of us with specific roles in society. We have to learn is what is working with this gender, what is working with this gender, marry the two and find a way to succeed. I believe it is very important, and I would also like to add in this discussion and give examples. I also realized where investment is concerned, ladies are able to make decisions fast. And I'm talking about this from experience. And you will find most of the salespeople, not just in real estate, even in other sectors of the economy, most of them will, you can see a sale from far if you are dealing with a lady more than a gentleman. And that is, it works in us. Most of them will come decided. So if I was a salesperson, not to have bias, because we have serious men in this society, but the statistic of women sometimes is higher than us. Sometimes if I'm a salesperson, I'll know very well the way you prioritize your sales process. I think I would be more happy put in a group of ladies more than men. As much as they'll make my life difficult with questions, I'm very sure at the end of the day, they might invest more than men. That is from experience. So going back to our discussion, because today, another discussion we talk about, remember our live sessions, our live feeds, we do this so that we can be able to help someone out there to learn one or two things, to have a take home, something that you can implement tomorrow. We are all about investment, we are all about real estate, we are all about transforming your life as a person. There's something you can learn today. Today we are learning from our ladies, our women, our mothers. There's something you can learn today about investment. Do it tomorrow and start succeeding. You see, ideas, knowledge, and information, and wisdom, it's not just held by one group of people. There are people who do things you can learn from and be able to succeed. Finally, allow me to recap so that we remember everything, and I'll do it extremely fast. Why do women invest more than men for a certain category of products? We talked about more about affordable products. They spend more time researching before making an investment choice. By the time they are going to the site to see a home, a house, a piece of property or a plot, they have already decided if it is okay, I will invest. For men like me, most of the time we want to come and compare, go to Kiseri and Kitengera, go all over and see whether we can get a better deal. In the process, we lose time, or you can easily get conned. Number two, they hold the investment for the long run. We talked about women being nurturers, they have more patience than our male of the same age group. We have this 21st century, we have women having at the top of their list home ownership as number one. For men, it might not be number one. And priorities matters, you have to make progress. If your priority is to own a plot faster than a car, you will own it, because God will also establish your plan. Number four, they have savings, you have table banking, you have chamas. They have transformed over time to a point where these chamas are investing in properties. I can go further and further about that, about success stories all over our estate, and there are so many. You might have one next to you where you live. Easier access to credit because of these chamas. They have been putting money for the last 10 years. Bank will give them money. We can apply the same as gentlemen. The fifth thing, they have a longer approach to investing. They are more likely to look at the 10 years. Where will be my kids? They'll need money for education. Where will this money come from? And they are more likely to buy a property that can invest, though for now the property is very affordable and in a further distance than what you normally agree to be a prime property. Because they are looking in the future. We have Konza, we have Tinga, where we have a plot going for 249,000. We have Matu, plot going for an equal amount, 249,000. You can come. We have another one for 379,000, touching Garissa Highway. This is something, Thika Garissa Highway, this is something that you can look at. And the last thing is that they perceive investment as security for the future more than gentlemen. As we always say, tutajisort, we look into it. We'll cross that bridge when we come there. We are very confident about the future. But for them, they'll rather take the risk-based approach. Remember I said they take above average risk. No, maybe not the highest risk, above average risk, but looking at the long term. So for those reasons, and we can learn from them, you'll find women are investing more than men for a certain category of products, especially the affordable type, less than $1 million shillings. This is 45%, but more than $1 million shillings, we might find more men. This statistic will continue for the foreseeable future, but as men, there's something to learn from it. We also want to contribute to this society, to government, to education, so that we can have a sober, mature society. It is complementary. Today I'm not talking about men winning or women winning. No. It's about complementing our society, living together, transforming our lives for us, for our future generations. And we can do this. And by doing so, our vision, our mission of providing current and upcoming generation with a place they can call home, this can come to be a reality. That's why we do these forums. That's why we are doing this live feed, so that you can take something, run with it tomorrow. So I hope you are commenting down there. We'd like you to tell us, is it women, is it men who are investing more? You can give us an example. You can also tell us why. Why is it women? Why is it men? So that people can learn from you. We'll be looking at those comments and we'll be able to respond back to a select few, maybe after this live session, so that we can learn together. So finally, the final score. Let's go back to our statistics. Who is investing more? And if you look at our experience, this is 7-8 years experience. We have men at 49%, women at 51%. This is the statistics that we have been collecting over the last 7.5 years. In our business, it might be true in other businesses, I don't know. It might be different in the housing sector, construction. We need to do research there and find out. For the affordable property segment, women at 51, men at 49. We are almost at a balancing, but in the next few years, I bet women might be further ahead of men in this game. So I believe this discussion has opened up your minds. I believe you have learned something for tomorrow, and you'll do it. Remember, doesn't matter how much you learn or how many tips you get today from other channels. What matters is what you do with the tips that you learn, whether you implement or sleep on them. If you implement, you will succeed. If you sleep with them, it doesn't matter how big the database is of knowledge, wisdom, tips that is in your head. If you don't do anything about it, just forget success. We end there today. Please don't forget to subscribe. We have been live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe, follow us, like our pages. We'll also be bringing you more of this content. Please engage us. We hope to see you next week. We'll have another topic about this. Keep commenting, keep engaging. See you soon. Do something about the tips you have learned today. God bless you and have a nice day.